What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents podcast where I discuss all things music and how it affects my life. And today, I'm talking about top 5 things I'd like to see when shows do come back, man. And there's really a lot, as I had a conversation with my wife about this particular subject, and I did not realize I wasn't ready for what she had to say about it. She had a lot of things to say about it. So some of this comes from her conversation with me, and also some of this comes from, just thinking about, how long it's been since shows have happened, and, it seems that, shows are starting to come back. Your notifications that you've been invited to an event is probably blowing up a little bit right now. And I think that's a positive thing, so, hopefully we can talk about some things I think that could really, really help shows after we've been without shows for so long. But, before we get started, man, if you'd like to be a guest on my show, or you'd like, want to give me a show idea or anything like that, you can hit me up on Facebook and Instagram at Blue Presents a Podcast, and on Twitter at Podcast of Blue, man. I just think that there's a lot of things, that we could be talking about, man. So reach out to me. Let's have a conversation, man. I love entertaining people. I love having guests on. But I also like talking about particular subjects, and today's one of those days. But before we get started, listen to my man AJ Pelletier on why you should be listening to Season 2 of The Roads We Traveled.
Hey everyone, AJ Pelletier here, and I'm here to talk to you about my podcast, The Roads We've Traveled. It's a podcast where every week I talk to guests and friends from music, art, comedy, and more about their journeys through life, their struggles, their joys, and everything in between. You also get to know a little bit more about me and my journey as well. So if you like podcasts about good conversations about life, or maybe you're just looking to relate to somebody about some things you may be going through as well, then The Roads We've Traveled is the podcast for you. Subscribe to us today on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you guys get your podcasts from. Check us out and subscribe to us on YouTube. And check us out at facebook.com/Roads We've Traveled Podcast. All right, everyone. Thanks.
All right, guys, let's get in the meat and potatoes of today's show, man. And I'm talking about 5 things I'd like to see happen when shows come back, man. The last year, verging into almost 2 years now, this has been a really difficult time for a lot of people, man, and in a lot of different areas of life, a lot of different things, but it seems like, we're making that turn around that corner, man, and it's looking like, shows are coming back in some type of capacity. Some shows have still gone on, with limited capacity and stuff like that, but we're venturing into, shows being at 100% strength coming up soon, man. And I'm just, I'm excited as much as I am also cautious. It's a strange, brave new world that we're all about to be faced with, and I think that we need to cherish shows more than we have at any other time, especially because, we haven't been able to see some of our friends. We haven't been able to see some of our favorite bands, some of our favorite artists, local, national, and I think this is a really big time, for a lot of people who, like myself, enjoy or look at a night to a show as a date night with my wife and stuff like that. So we're rounding that corner, man. Like I said, super excited, but also extremely cautious, man. Hopefully looking forward to seeing The Ghost Inside in August. But, on a local level, I'm just excited to see some of my friends get back to doing what they do best, man. And there's some hella kick-ass local artists, man, who were riding a big momentum train, and then, you know, COVID just kind of smashed and ruined a lot of things, man. But also some of my friends who are artists have made some huge moves, man, and I'm so proud of so many of them. You know, just super excited to see, you know, the future of music. You know, I've said a lot about, you know, what this time should be about, and this time should really be about plotting your next moves, making your next advancements to what you want to do with your music career or your life in general, man. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily have to revolve around music, but, you know, just taking the time to understand, man, what is my next move once this is kind of over? And to be perfectly honest with you, it's kind of not really over. You know, there's still a lot of worry and concern and stuff like that, even with vaccines and stuff like that. But at the same time, man, you know, we really need to cherish the fact that, you know, shows are starting to come back, you know. So with that being said, I'm just going to go right into my first point. And my first point is I want to see more people at shows, man, especially on a local level, man. You know, we talk about how much music is life, but it starts in small venues. You know what I'm saying? It starts with artists who are given a chance to just step out and do what they do, and try to provide an experience that you probably don't get from, you know, that big national artist who's, you know, in no terms of disrespect, you know, some of them have overblown egos and their stage productions are huge, you know. But before they got there, they were playing these small venues. They were playing to, you know, 10, 15 people. But why should that be the case, man? You know, we're getting an opportunity to get back to somewhat of some type of normal, you know, and I really think that people should be more supportive, even including myself, man. You know, I'm calling myself out on this too, you know. There are some, you know, some shows that I've been to where, you know, I've traveled, you know, 2 hours plus to go see a band, you know what I'm saying, or go support a friend of mine's band, you know, and, you know, that before was just like, oh man, that's too much, you know, I'm working, whatever the case is. But, you know, now more than ever, it means so much more to get that opportunity to kind of go to the club, support the band, support the venue, support the area. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, unfortunately, we've lost some really significant venues, especially in the New England area, and it's tough to bounce back. You know, it just shortens places where local artists can go and perform, man. You know, it's going to be even more difficult now, you know, not only the chance that everybody can come back, and now we're going to be fighting for more limited space. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to see more people at shows. I want to see more people showing that support, you know, and it has to start somewhere, man, for real. Like, you know, I really just think that this is something we really need to get behind, because for as much as we were sad about those venues, some of us didn't even go to shows sometimes, you know, and I know it doesn't make a huge difference, but sometimes that little difference you could have spent over at that club could have made a difference for those guys. You know what I'm saying? And in no intents and purposes, I'm trying to make anybody feel bad or guilt anybody into it, man, because I'm actually going to make another point here shortly that might counteract this one, but I'm going to explain, hopefully in best of detail as I can. But I just think more people at shows is something we really need to focus on, especially in at least the first year we're back to having 100% people capacity at shows. You know what I'm saying? All right, so my second point, this is kind of like a three-parter here, so I'm going to break it down as much as I possibly can. So my second point here is more genre and diverse sounding shows as well as events. You know what I'm saying? So let me tackle the first two, which is diverse sounds and genres. There are a lot of things that people enjoy. You know what I'm saying? I understand there's a lot of metalheads who are specifically engaged to just only specifically metal. Same thing with hip hop, same thing with country music, so on and so forth. But what I would think would be super interesting, especially to get more people in the door, I think diverse shows where you have a hip hop artist, where you have a metal band, where you have a punk band, you have a doom band, you have, you know, whatever artist, you know, that can come together and put together a show, man. And it just gives everybody a little bit of something, man. And for those metal guys who are like, I don't really like metal, you see a local rapper do what he does best, and you realize there's not a lot of difference. Just the sound is the only difference. The passion, the performance, that doesn't change no matter what the genre is. You know what I'm saying? So I think more diverse sounding or more diverse sounds and genres on shows really could get people kind of reeled into that door as a night where you're getting hip hop music, you're getting metal, you're getting a multitude of different things that everybody enjoys in some capacity. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who do like metal, like hip hop, and kind of like, okay, man, this is the best of both worlds. Now, this moves on to the next point within this point that I have here, which is events, man. I really, really think events are something that need to happen. A perfect example, Dwayne does the Doom and Brew show, man, where you're getting beers, you're getting Doom music, man. We need more shows like that, man, because it's an entertainment factor. You're not only going there to see some bands, you're going there to see wrestlers, you're going there to see a burlesque show with, you know, with bands or with artists. You know what I'm saying? Or something along the lines where, you know, you have like, you know, video gaming out of this whole thing in the pandemic has become kind of a huge thing. Video game tournament with a metal show, or video game tournament and, you know, something else that's interesting, hip hop guys, you know, whatever it may be, you know. I think the combination of music and an event together really could bring people in the door, man. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Dwayne, man, because I've seen him do this plenty of times, man. And I think other people can follow that and kind of come up with their own unique concepts to bring two things together and then kind of mash them together, man. And you have not just a show, you have an entire event that, you know, people from one world who are like, okay, I'm here for this, but let me also check out the artist, or vice versa. I'm here for the music, let me check out this event as well too, man. You know, it's two things that will go together, and I can't think of any better reason to want to go to a show, because the entertainment is there, you know. And I know sometimes this is really hard because it's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot to put together, man, I'm sure. But I really think what would be really, really awesome is if we had more events, you know what I'm saying, where it is music meets, you know, insert whatever outside opinion, you know, whether it's, you know, whatever latest trends. And I know certain people, especially, you know, sometimes the music scene can be a little bit negative towards trendy things, but also at the same time, man, if you bring in that world, you know, that may be on the uptrend, you may not realize that you guys are actually in the same world. You know what I'm saying? It's just different perspectives, you know? So I think that this could be a really good source for certain venues, you know, extra money in the pocket there because you're combining so many different things, you know. Now, I said this next point I'm going to make is probably going to contradict my first point, but I think I have a pretty good explanation on how to separate these. Okay. So like I said before, you know, I have traveled 2 hours. Hell, I've traveled even longer than that, 4 or 5 hours to go to a show, you know, and just to either support a friend or go see a band that I probably, you know, probably isn't, you know, on, you know, the leg of whatever tour, they're not coming through my area. So, you know, I've done that before, where you travel the distance because you want the experience and you want to check out artists, man. I've done that. I you know, especially like in my early 20s, I did it a lot. But now I'm 35, kids, wife, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, sometimes a show isn't practical because I have to go find a babysitter, and then I have to pay the babysitter, and then I have to be back in a certain time. And, you know, being as old as I am, man, you know, I get up at 3 something in the morning to go to work and stuff like that. So that's a really, really long day of driving, you know, driving to work, and then I drive for a living, and then coming back and having to drive to a venue. So I think we need more live stream shows, man. And I know that's a point that's going to kind of negate that first point, but also at the same time, I think it's another avenue of revenue for certain artists. Now, I understand not all venues are going to have this capability, but the venues that can, I think, should really utilize this technology, because this could really bring in more people, because those people who say, oh, well, I can't make it because insert whatever job, you know what I'm saying? Or insert, you know, I've got this going on and I can't really travel that far, or by the time I get off, it'll be too long for me to travel and I'll miss everything. You know, a live stream could really, you know, we've seen it with the Twitch, with the world of Twitch is kind of making that really possible. And like I said, I also understand, the equipment is rather expensive, but like I said, charge a small fee, man, and you could get some extra people watching that live stream, and on top of that too, you could have like a donation service where people are donating while they're watching, the stream, insert stream or whatever the case is, and maybe I don't know if there's an app that, does this, maybe there should be some technology companies that kind of come up with this to where, you can live stream, your show from your phone if you have a decent phone. Once again, I know that technology is, it's expensive, you know what I'm saying? But we all have smartphones, man. We have phones in our face more than anything we have in our lives. I think you can utilize that, by having an artist, live stream a show, man. And like I said, kick in a small fee, and I just think it would be really, really awesome to still have this after the fact, you know what I'm saying, as another way to, one, make more revenue, two, get more eyes on whatever band it is, you know what I'm saying, and, I don't know. I just feel like this could still be a good thing we can still utilize and not discard after the fact. Yes, more people should definitely be at shows. It helps support, that venue's bar, that venue's food, insert, whatever else that venue does. Obviously you want to support that venue, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, a live stream could also generate some more revenue as well, too. You know what I'm saying? A donation based service, which, I know sometimes that can be kind of difficult, but if you're putting out a good product, I'm sure there are plenty of people who would love to donate to keep that venue alive for the entertainment that they're getting. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think live streaming, for bigger bands is probably going to be something we see going forward because it makes it easier. They don't have to climb into a van, insert, bus or whatever the case is and travel up and down bringing that equipment. It's a scary thing. I'll use, the Ghost Inside as a pretty good example. I'm sure those guys would love to, do some type of live stream, as well as I'm sure they'd like to play in front of people. But sometimes that live stream, can really help shape and keep the health of the artist still going, man. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, this point kind of contradicts the first point, but I hope you see some of the positives that I've stated in here that kind of can make this a more viable option for everyone. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, not everybody will be able to do this, not every artist, not every venue, but I think the ones that can should really utilize this. You know what I'm saying? My next thing is, and this one is, I don't know, I just felt like this was a really, really good one because we really don't get a lot of these anymore. We, unfortunately, we don't have Warped Tour anymore. You do see festivals, but I don't see a lot of festivals, especially in this New England area. A lot more times than not, you have to travel to places like Ohio, to Florida, places that do big stadiums, and I understand it's probably a little bit more difficult over in this area because I don't know if we have a lot of land that we can do, but I'm sure there's a couple places, the Palladium outside, that's a place I'm hoping to experience in August, with the Ghost Inside and stuff like that. So I think more outdoor events and festivals. And here's another thing I'm going to throw in here with the outdoor events and festivals: shows that start during the day. And I know this sounds crazy. It's just like, yes, every show starts during the day, but I'm talking about a show that kicks off at like noon or 1 o'clock. You can kind of check out a few bands and then, whatever it is, go down the street or whatever the case is, get a nap in, come back, check out the rest of the bands and stuff like that, so on and so forth. I know that really sounds kind of like a, old person and I'm shaking my fist at the world, but, I remember playing a few shows back in the day that were, like festival type shows that started at like noon, 1 o'clock. You didn't really get a lot of people in there, but it was a fun experience, man. And I remember being there all day. And then I also remember doing that and then kind of going, hey, we're going to go eat something. We'll be back later on to check out the rest of the bands and stuff like that. And just kind of hitting that sweet spot of, later on and during the day. But I also understand that's a lot to do, but it's still an enjoyable time. Once again, I go back to the fact I'm 35. I'm a husband. I've got kids, man. I'd really like the opportunity to be like, hey, man, I'm going to go to a show. It's around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You mind watching my kids for a couple hours so I can go check out some friends' bands or whatever? I think it could be something that could be super, super, super helpful, man. And I think, that being said, outdoor festivals, I feel like, especially with the summertime, man, the weather's really good. Also, sometimes, the weather isn't so good. And I understand that could impede on a couple of shows, but I also think, a nice outdoor venue or some type of venue that already has that kind of ability, I think they should really utilize that, to do things, man. You could have, drink specials with that stuff too, man. Then that goes back to the whole, events and diversifying sounds and stuff like that, bring something to people that they haven't had in almost 2 years, man. You know what I'm saying? Give people the undeniable opportunity to go, man, it's outdoors. They got wrestling, or they got burlesque, or they've got, a beer testing, or, whatever one of these a type of events where you're combining something and you got the music, man. So it's like one-stop shop, man. It's like going to Costco, you know what I'm saying? You got the, giant rolls of toilet paper, but you can also get like a 9-pound cake, legit, no bullshit. You can definitely get a 9-pound cake. I bought one this past summer for my kids. So you can buy a 9-pound cake at Costco, which is, sorry, I'm like completely off the rails here, but I just thought about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's one-stop shop, man. And you can combine so many things together, man. And people will really, really go, man, there's absolutely no way I can say, no, I don't want to buy a ticket. No, I don't want to part with my $20 or $30 a ticket, because I'm getting so much for what I'm spending, and it's all in one place, and I don't have to travel hella far for it, or I don't have to, you know what I'm saying? And then also, again, this can go back to the live stream, man. You can utilize the live stream as well for this as well. You know what I'm saying? Once again, like, and if you kind of notice some of these points are kind of trying to intersect all the way, man. And I really think there's a lot that many venues can do, and I'm understanding certain venues can't, work within what's best for you, you know what I'm saying? And try to make an experience, and I know that sounds easier said than done. I don't run a venue. These are just some things I've been thinking about, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a little bit older of a person, you know what I'm saying? So any opportunity where I can get multiple things at one price in the same area, oh yes, I will definitely spend that money every time. You know what I'm saying? And that being said, I'm coming to my final point here, man. And all 5 of these points, I think, intersect at this one point right here. We need more community, man. And what do I mean by community? It's every one of these points that I mentioned today. It's everybody coming together to support these bands. It's everyone realizing that the genre isn't just one sound. There are many different artists with different sounds, as well as there's many artists who do different sounds that can be blended together, as well as incorporating some of what we've had to do during the pandemic to keep more people within those parameters, because yes, it seems that the world seems to think that we're coming around this corner ready to get back to what they would call, quote unquote, normal, or the new normal, or whatever you want to call it. But also at the same time, we still need to realize that there are people who are still working during the pandemic. There's people who are still going to be working after the pandemic. We need to give that opportunity for them to be able to enjoy shows as well too, while also entertaining the people who do have that time to go to a venue, drive a few hours to go support some friends, man. I myself, sometimes, I've gone to shows. I'll give you a prime example. Me and my wife went to Altones, I apologize, to go see Battlefront Pro Extreme and watch my buddies in Casting Shadows, man. It was a great opportunity to support those guys, and it was a great opportunity to support professional wrestling, music and wrestling, both what I extremely enjoy. And it was worth parting with my $20, $40 if you count that I brought my wife, and my wife had a good time, and we got a hotel around the corner, and we made an event of it, man. Once again, that point that I'm bringing forward, we need to have more events like this, man. And like I said, easier said than done, and it's going to take some time to kind of test the waters on what exactly will work, what won't work. Certain areas can't have certain types of events, you know what I'm saying? You have to get clearance from somebody, but also at the same time, if there's an opportunity there, man, you should really, really take that chance to provide, once again, that great experience. And we can do that on a local level. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, I'm really, really hoping that once we get back to shows, we respect and love what we're getting back. You know what I'm saying? Music has been on hold for so long, and I can't think of a time more difficult for music. Obviously, it's difficult for everybody, but I've seen some of my friends in music who, used to play shows all the time, venues that used to be open, man, and now we have to sit back and think those places aren't open. Some of those bands don't exist anymore because they, you know what I'm saying? What could they really do? And it's hard, man. It's been sad. It's difficult, but when shows do come back, man, I really, really think we need to appreciate them way more than we ever have. Really think about what you're saying when you're saying, oh man, I can't make it out. You know what I'm saying? I'm understanding, some people can't travel, that far to go to a show. But if you have that opportunity to, and, like I said, man, this has been really, really difficult for everyone, and I know it's been difficult for my friends in music. So I really, really just want to support them as much as I can, man. And sometimes people don't realize, man, support is easy, man. Sometimes you got to part with some money, but also at the same time, man. And I'm trying to make a better effort myself. I need to take some of these words that I'm saying and hold them to myself as well, too. Accountability is everything. I'm trying my best to share when friends post new music, when friends, have some things, coming up, so, like I said, so very, very proud of so many of my friends who, while we weren't able to play shows, man, they were doing big things when it came to music, man. They were doing awesome things, man. Shout out to, More in the Light. Shout out to Worm Shepherd, man. Shout out to so many bands who are still grinding and busting their ass, man, to put out great music as well as get signed to record labels and all that good stuff, man. But like I said, man, this is really more about understanding the gravity of what's about to happen when they give us music back, and give us music back in a way that we haven't had in so long, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of things that we're slowly but surely kind of getting back. But like I said, I just think that we need to love on music when it comes back, man. Music needs more love. It needs to be loved on, and it needs to be shown the love that sometimes we didn't show back in the day, and now we haven't had it for so long, and I feel like the hunger's there for so many people, man. I hope that when this all ends and we can all go back to shows, man, I hope that every bar is packed. I hope that every venue is packed. Every band gets seen by so many different people. I just hope for so many things for my friends, for my friends that are promoters, man, for my friends who run venues, man. I really, really, truly hope that when everything gets back to normal, you guys get as much business as possible, man. And that's all I'm really, really talking about here, man. Ways to kind of bring us back to remembering what it is about music we love so much, man. Thank you guys for listening to today's show, man. I hope I wasn't too preachy. I hope I wasn't, a little confusing and all over the place, man. And if you have some thoughts on what you think you'd like to see when it comes to shows coming back, man, let's have a conversation, man. Let's talk about it. Let's kick around a few ideas. Hell, if anybody, who runs a venue or puts together shows and wants to talk to me about maybe, some ideas of putting together shows and stuff like that. Once again, I'm not a show promoter. I don't know the logistics of certain things or certain venues, you know what I'm saying? But I want to help out anybody in the best way I possibly can, man. And I really think there's some solid ideas here that some venue can really take advantage of and do their best, man. So like I said, thank you guys once again, man. I appreciate you guys. Have a great week.